I'm not a fan of social media. I feel like my time is better invested in blogging, in SEO, things that are related directly and directly on my website, because that is my initial investment. You know, as fabulous as you want to make it, when you're a website designer and you work from home, I mean, it's so nice to be able to go meet your girlfriend for a cappuccino in the morning, or a spritz and a Aperol spritz in the afternoon. And yeah, it's a great place to be. AI can be kind of a scary thing. It's being used for all kinds of different things right now, but I agree with you. I'm not worried about job security.
All right, Erin, give me the background story. Tell me about what you were doing before you became a website designer. And did you have any website building experience before?
Well, before I was doing website design, I was actually doing graphic design. I have a background in traditional art, what you would call traditional art, and art history. And when I graduated, there weren't a whole lot of options. I did start, through some family and friend referrals, start doing some basic logo design, print material, this kind of stuff. But it was very slow going. It was not a straight line. It wasn't really, website design was not really on my radar at all. And I did that for a few years, working for a couple of different companies. And then I would, tend to get little jobs on the side, little projects on the side, again, from family and friend referrals. Over the years, that led to me just planted the seed that, hey, maybe I can make this evolve and do it on my own. Eventually got up the courage to say bye to my 9-to-5. And it was scary in a sense. It was liberating though, because I felt like, wow, I can really, really go for this now and really apply myself. That lasted for about 6 months. And I was in the middle of a logo design for a client. And she approached me after the design and she said, can you build me a website? And I don't know what made me just not even hesitate. I said, sure, absolutely. Not knowing a thing about it, but this was back in the day. This was many, many moons ago, but this was back in the day when Adobe, of course, I had learned Photoshop and Illustrator and these design tools. They had a product called Dreamweaver where you could build websites. It was very complex. It was a very powerful program and you could do a lot of things with it, but it was a bit intimidating, but I managed to kind of read my way through tutorials and learn the basics. That was very challenging, but it was also very, very rewarding. And my client was happy. I didn't charge her very much. She was probably happy about that too. But, I really did want to get my foot in the door and just start going for it. So I also did get into designing on WordPress, which was a bit better, but also a bit chaotic in the sense that trying to hand the finished product over to the client, which was kind of ultimately my goal in the first place, because I really, one of the things I really, really want to do for my clients, especially since the majority of them are small business owners, I want to give them the freedom, take care of their own website, to update it themselves, for the all the little things that sort of you have to update when you're a small business. And again, things are evolving technology-wise, and Squarespace appears on the scene. I'd never heard of it. I was actually in the middle of searching for a new platform to replace WordPress. After a long search and sort of after some different trial periods, I landed on Squarespace, just thought it was a great choice. And I started using it for my own site to kind of learn the ropes. But I realized there's a little bit of a learning curve here. This is all to say that the journey from art history to logo design, or graphic design, if you want to call it, and to website design was, again, not a straight line, but it was one that's possible. And yeah, here we are today.
Yeah, I love that. That's incredible. That's a beautiful story. And it's very logical. And I feel like it's a path that a lot of people take, is the whole, had something to do. I've heard that story so many times of, I was doing logos and then my client asked me, can you also build a website? And then it's like, oh, you know what? That would be a really good idea if I could also offer
exactly.
Fits really well together. So that's incredible. Yeah. And then, okay, so as you mentioned, you were doing this for years, and you have been in this industry for quite a long time. I think, did you say 15?
More than 15 years, yes.
Okay, good. So you have seen the evolutions and the changes and everything, so I love that. Let's talk about, that's one thing which people always think about and worry about, and that's a question I get frequently, is Is the industry oversaturated? Are there too many website designers? You have been through a very long time in the graphic and web design industry. What are your thoughts and opinions on that question?
I think that's a great question. And my answer would be no. I truly believe that this industry, there's a lot of room for very, very different kinds of people, different creative minds. The website design business it's so flexible and fluid. And I think that whether or not you're a designer in the traditional sense, if you like the technology, if you enjoy this kind of building things, it's a great place to be. There's businesses that are blooming every single day, small businesses. I mean, if you just look at the United States, we are very entrepreneurial minded in the United States. And starting a small business when you have an idea is relatively easy. You can do it from just about anywhere. You have to have the idea, you've got to have a little bit of skill, but in the whole scheme of things, it's relatively easy to do. And everyone needs a website. So you've got bunches of small businesses popping up all over the place. They either need a new website or they already have one and it's terrible, because there's a lot of terrible ones out there too. So I would say no. If you have an edge with something, for example, for me, it really is maybe my design eye that I can sort of set myself apart, and you can learn the technology, learn the platforms, just the basics, then I think anybody has a chance at it. I don't think it's saturated at all. For me, it would be saying, are there too many photographers in the world? No, because your vision, your eye is going to be totally different from somebody else. And so.
I agree with that. I love that. That's amazing. Thank you. And I especially appreciate your opinion, knowing that you've been doing and in this industry for such a long time. So you have a really solid, base of knowledge to make that decision or that statement based off of. Okay. Now the other thing which I'm very curious to know is, so you had already been running a business for quite a while before you ever took my Squarespace business course. What made you think I need to take this? If again, you had been running a business for quite a long time, what were the struggles that you were having that made you realize you wanted a course?
Because I was starting a new platform, and technology wise, it was different for me. I had been using, WordPress and Dreamweaver before. So this was sort of a new hosting experience for me. And I didn't really know the ropes and wanted to kind of get on board quickly. So as I was doing a Google search about learning how to use Squarespace, I found you. I found others, but you in particular, your website, your offerings, your free offerings, the amount of free content that you had on your site was incredible. And I also really appreciated your journey, your story of how you are doing what you're doing now and how you got there. But it was a very personal thing. I could relate to it, but the amount of content and help that you were just offering was astounding to me. And it did build up that sense of trust that she really has been through this. She knows what she's doing. She's a Squarespace expert, and I want to learn more. And that really propelled me to sign up for your course, because I knew that the quality of instruction that I was going to get was going to be very, very high. Because I'm like, if you're giving away this free stuff, imagine I'm going to, pay for a course. It's going to be phenomenal. And it was. But this course for me was an investment. It was an investment in myself. It was an investment in my business. And I knew it was going to propel me and take me to that next level so that I could then be sort of the designer and the website provider that I needed to be for my clients. I wanted to have that skill set for this particular platform. And again, I chose Squarespace because I had looked around and researched, and I felt like it was the best option for the kind of service that I wanted to provide. So finding you and finding your course for me was just like speeding through this knowledge that I knew I needed to have to kind of take my business to that next level.
I love it. You also mentioned it was an investment, and it was, you really have to think about these things. Can you talk about, so many people wonder, how long does it take to make back the investment? Can you talk about, did it take you like a client or 2 clients or 3 clients? How long did it take you to make back what you spent on the course, do you think?
I think it took me half a client, half a project. Honestly, I was, after taking the course, and really one of the things I love about your course is that it really helped me, based on the platform, it helped me fine tune my processes. Having your course really helped me fine tune those processes related specifically to the platform was a huge, huge boost. And so when I eventually did my first project with a client utilizing the Squarespace platform, I didn't hesitate at all. I charged, X amount, and I think it was half the price of the course. So not only did I make it back, I earned, and it just went up from there. So
yeah. I love that. That's so good. I'm so happy to hear it. Okay, tell me about what you've charged, say, at the beginning of your web designer journey to like what an average client investment is with you these days.
Average client investment right now is just under $5,000. And that is a full website package for a small business or a solopreneur that's just getting started. It's going to give them the absolute great foundation to get going with their business and get off the ground. It's going to give them one-on-one time with me and tutorials and some educational tips after the website's launched. But prior to that, when I was first on the Squarespace platform, it was around $1,500 to $2,000, so depending on the fullness of the project. But those prices went up very quickly. So. Yeah, it was nice. It was nice because, with each project, you're getting more experience, more confidence, and taking on a couple of projects a month, you can do the math. It's a nice way to work.
Yeah, definitely. I love that. Okay. And then you also have started offering website templates. Can you tell me, if someone's thinking about doing this, I know a lot of people are thinking about doing this, what did you learn? You've actually gone and launched some templates now. What did you learn in that process, or what advice would you have for someone else who's thinking about doing that?
That is a great question. Part of what I learned through your course was a bonus of sort of how to start that template process. And that was huge because I really want to have some multiple ways of income coming in, some sort of mildly passive. It's not 100%, but mildly passive income. And this is a fantastic way to do it because once I felt really confident with the platform and I realized, wow, this is really, I do love the design work. I love the actual design part of designing. Seeing others selling templates was just for me a great way to add to this passive income idea. If I were to give advice to anyone, it's just jump into it. There's a bit of tech involved. I would for sure try to take a course because there's a lot of sort of subtle things that is not similar to client work. And so template selling there's so many different avenues you can take. There's different platforms that you can use to sell your templates on. And it can be overwhelming, but it's also extremely rewarding to know that someone can really identify with the design and can picture themselves, that they feel like they have the confidence to sort of make the template their own. That's really a nice feeling. So yeah, I would say anybody can do it.
Good. I love that. That's amazing. Okay. Another question I had is you took my Audience Academy course and you have a fantastic blog as well now. And can you tell me about what kind of impact, was it the thing that got you to start the blog? Had you already started it beforehand? And what kind of impact has that had in terms of, let's say, traffic or like clients for you?
That's a great question too. I have been relatively fortunate. I don't want to jinx it, but I've been relatively fortunate over these years to have a lot of referrals from past clients. And that is a great, great feeling. But again, you never want to take that for granted. And in taking your course, I wanted to start really focusing on blogging so that I could start building my email list and really get some eyes, SEO-wise, some eyes on my website organically. And when I took your course, I just learned some great tips about how to blog, the choices that you make in terms of content. You provided this incredible content calendar that has been priceless. I've seen a lot of organic activity happen and people finding me through that means. And so it's a very valuable, it's a commitment that you have to make. You have to decide how often and, different topics. It's definitely another sort of job, but I see the results and I see that you're also providing valuable content to others, and that's a good feeling too. So it's not only bringing in traffic, but you're giving out good vibes too. So
yeah, That's what I feel about it too. I just feel like it's such a beautiful, I mean, I just, one, enjoy creating content. And two, it's like I'm doing kind of like a service for the internet in a way.
Yeah.
And it also brings leads into my business and yours too. And so
Exactly.
it's just, I really like it as a method. So glad you do too. And correct me if I'm wrong, are you on social media?
That's another good question. I am not, I'm not a fan of social media. Yes, I have an Instagram account, but it is currently not really being used. I was posting for a while, but I have to say, I don't really want to use that as a source of, should I say, marketing, because I feel, I mean, everybody's seen what can happen, TikTok included. It's nice, it's pretty, it's beautiful. There's lots of things to see on there, but when I was doing it, I didn't see a whole lot of return. It's a time zapper, and so it's a choice. It's a choice that you have to make. I feel like my time is better invested in blogging, in SEO, things that are related directly and directly on my website, because that is my initial investment. I can post content here and there, maybe on Instagram from time to time, but to be honest with you, I'm not a fan.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And it's great that you found what works for you. So yeah, I feel like this is a great example of a web designer who you've consciously decided, you know what, social media, not so much my thing. And you can still clearly have a very successful business without that, because you are booking, and you're booking from referrals and from SEO. Are those the two main ways that people are finding you?
Yes, for sure. And I remember taking your course, and you were talking about, there are so many different ways to market yourself. And really, it's important to not do them all, because you can get distracted. And the time that it takes just to focus on one or two is already very intense. So trying to do them all is just not possible. Focus on the ones that you can relate to, that you can do well, and stick to those. And that's what I've done. So,
yeah.
So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad to see another example of it working. That's great. Can you tell me about, so when it came to the blog and making that decision that you wanted to do this as a marketing strategy, so many people think, it's already all been written. What do I have to say? I don't have any chance to rank against someone like Paige because her website's been around for such a long time. Was that a fear in your mind? Have you found that to be true? What are your thoughts on that?
To be honest, I would say, I don't really think, I try not to fear anything, because if you enjoy learning and you find joy in that and you can apply it to what you're doing, the rewards are going to come. I'm sure I don't rank number one or number two or anywhere close to that, but I know that I provide a valuable service, and if I do happen to rank with my with the bit of SEO that I do know and do know how to do well, then fantastic. But in terms of trying to keep up with that continuous competition, I don't think it's super healthy. So I write what I write in my own voice, and then and try to just be as helpful as possible. A lot of the things that I write about are things that I've run up against in my own business, or were confused about, so found a solution and then said, hey, maybe someone else could benefit from this. I think if it's something that you love to do, people are going to find you.
I love that. Okay, the one thing we haven't touched on yet, which we need to, is you have a very interesting life. You live in Italy. Tell me about, how did you end up in Italy? And walk me through a day in your Italian life.
Okay, well, Paige, I think that might be a conversation, a longer one over a bottle of wine, maybe Italian wine. No, it is a long story, but I found my way over here many, many years ago. My husband is from Italy, and so we have been here for a long time, but sort of also back and forth to the United States, because I'm originally from the United States. For right now, this is a great place to be. We love being in Europe. I think you could say the same. Yep. And I think a day in the life is probably, as fabulous as you want to make it. When you're a website designer and you work from home, I mean, it's so nice to be able to go meet your girlfriend for a cappuccino in the morning, or a spritz and a Aperol spritz in the afternoon. And it's a great place to be. We're in a very walkable city, and so we love it. Absolutely love it.
That's amazing. And so are your clients Italian typically in your business, or are you getting them back in the US, or how does that tend to work for you?
Most of my clients are in the US, and that is probably due to the amount of time that I spent there, the referrals that I still have from there. And it works because it's target audience is these small businesses that are popping up, places that that I know and love, and I think it's nice though to be able to take on clients worldwide. That's what part of this business is being able to sort of take it wherever you go, and I've been very, very fortunate in that sense. So being able to be here in Italy and being flexible with location is another amazing aspect of being a website designer.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. That is fabulous. Okay, now the one thing that we haven't touched on so much is talk to me about who it is that you typically work with as clients. Do you have a specific niche? Is it more broad? What was your kind of like thoughts on the whole niching question? It's clearly worked for you regardless. So tell me what that is for you.
I would say I have a pretty eclectic group of clients. I can't say that I niche, other than maybe to say, I probably should, I don't know. I can't say that I niche, but that was, again, maybe just after so many years of referrals coming in over the years. But I would say what they all have in common is the fact that they are either solopreneurs and they are just getting started. They've just started a business and they have no website, and they're looking for a really good foundation to get started, to get their business rolling. Or just a small business, maybe with a few employees that are struggling to keep up because they need a website that's going to work for them. They need something that's going to take in inquiries, take in clients, and do some of that lifting for them. So they are typically not savvy with website design or website hosting. And so updating a website is going to be a struggle for them. So my goal with these clients, these small business clients, is always to keep things relatively simple. And with that in mind, meaning when I create their website on Squarespace, I am going to create it with the thought that, okay, they're going to next week have to go in there and update their pricing or update their services. And it needs to be as efficient as possible for them to get in there and do that. So I do design using some custom coding because I really want to make their website unique. And, that designer in me always wants to do something a little fancy. But in the end, I try to keep it minimal because, again, for me to hand the project over to them and say, here's your baby, I want them to have the confidence that they can get in there and update it themselves. So they're typically not tech savvy, and they're just starting out. So it's a real honor, so to speak, to be able to give that service to them as a website designer. I'm just as invested in their business as they are because I really do want to see them succeed.
Yeah, I can tell from the way you speak that you really care for your clients. One, from the way you're speaking, and also just from the fact that you get so many referrals as a major client source for you is always an indication to me that someone runs an exceptional business and their clients are very, very happy.
Thank you. That's sweet. I do. I do enjoy the one-on-one client interaction, that really person to person, because we've lost so much of that these days. I know that some website designers are moving more towards selling courses and sort of that offhand. And I would like to do some more of that to sort of get some of that passive income. But for the time being, it is it's a real joy for me to work with clients one-on-one like that.
That's amazing. That's so good. When you speak about your clients, like this is something very typical that I hear is new business owner, solopreneur, or small company with a couple of employees and really not that tech savvy. And this is something which I think some designers, they wonder, oh, how will AI affect the industry? And I'm like, you always need to go back to who is hiring you in the first place. And there is already easy website building tools that exist, and still these clients are coming to you and paying you $4,500 for a website. And the reason is because no matter what technology happens, these people are still absolutely terrified of like doing something like this. So yeah,
100%. I agree with you. And AI can be kind of a scary thing. It's being used for all kinds of different things right now, but I agree with you. I'm not worried about job security, so to speak. So
that's good. Yeah, love that. Now, the other thing I want to ask, so I'm going to ask you the question twice because it's related to two different courses. So if someone else on the fence about taking Square Secrets Business, what would your thoughts be? Was it worth it for you? What's your opinion on that?
Yes, if someone is on the fence, I would say do it. It is a huge investment that you are going to make for yourself and for your business. And it was incredibly thorough. It's not just about website design, but it's about running a business and smart ways to do that. There are so many benefits to taking this course. I can't even tell you. Just the foundational things that you're going to learn about the platform, about Squarespace, to the client processes that you've described, which by the way, are also very, very customizable. So your course was fantastic in giving a structure, but also, okay, this is the process, but modify it to what you need. If it's a 2-week website process, maybe you want to do 3 weeks instead, and you can modify that. But those basics, those foundational basics are so, so useful. And then beyond that, in the course, the advice and the tips from all of the various experts in the fields, things that maybe someone isn't thinking about in terms of business support, like financials and legal. So, being able to get plugged into all of those specifically related to website design was phenomenal. The course is just packed. It's action packed.
Yay, that makes me so happy. Thank you for saying that. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Okay, and then second is, if someone's on the fence about taking Audience Academy, what are your thoughts on that one?
My thoughts are, again, go for it. It's a great investment in your business. It's with everything. So the uncertainty of social media, I would say you really want to try to focus on blogging and getting eyes on your website in that organic way. And blogging and doing that is going to do that. You've got just loads of information and content ideas, learning how to do keyword research, the stuff that you don't really think about, but it's all packed in there. So I would say do it. You'll make the money back in less than one project probably. So think about that. Yeah.
Incredible. Thank you, Erin, so much. I really appreciate your time and your incredible story.
You're so welcome. Thank you.
Wasn't that inspiring? Hearing real success stories like this reminds us that building the business of your dreams is absolutely possible, and it starts with finding the right clients. Now, the best client finding method isn't about chasing the latest trend or jumping on every shiny object. It's about truly discovering a client finding strategy that feels natural, works for you, and helps you connect with the clients that you actually want to work with. So, if you want to figure this out for yourself, you can take my quiz, Which Client Finding Method Matches Your Personality Type? And in it, you will uncover the perfect way to land your dream clients without the overwhelm or the endless trial and error. So, click the link below or head to paigebrunton.com/quiz to take the quiz. And then you can start building your web designer dream business today. I can't wait to hear which marketing strategy result that you got.